Our next story this week, Tiger Woods is getting a biopic at Amazon MGM. That's right, Amazon Prime is going to have a hot Tiger Woods biopic ready to go for you and your golf friends, I guess. Although, it turns out it's coming from some good creative. The folks who made King Richard, the Will Smith well, it's not technically. I know it is the Will Smith biopic. Yeah, he plays the father of
The
Serena
coach of the of the
Williams.
Williams
Yes.
sisters.
Good
Yes.
God. Help me out with this, Andy. What's going on at MGM?
Yes. So the Tiger Woods biopic has been announced. This is based on a book by Kevin Cook, who was a sports writer. It's going to cover um, him as largely a young rising star. Those of us old enough to remember Tiger Woods' rise at the late 90s, early 2000s, where he was just unbeatable. And he was like 18, 19 years old, beating everyone on the course. He was unstoppable. Had a bit of a fall from grace, though, after the success with the death of his father, sex addiction, some domestic dispute issues, and drunk driving. Like his story kind of gets soured the longer it goes. His body's also been very taxed by the golfing as long as he has been. So there's a lot there. He's an iconic figure, and he's definitely probably at the end of his golfing career pretty soon. So and yes, it's being directed by the same director as King Richard, which tells you the kind of sports movie it's going to be. It's not going to get deep in the weeds. You're going to feel good about most of it. It's going to gloss over the warts and all part. Take the whole family, take the kids, watch it at Christmas.
Yes, most importantly, take Dad. Yeah, as far as I know, it's going to be the director of King Richard. I think the editor from King Richard is coming over. Like one of the screenwriters is working on it. So it is very much like a hop back in the boat for another adventure kind of film. Who do you think Will Smith is going to play in it? Right? Because surely he's going to be in it. And then most importantly,
Earl.
I got some. I got some old man Woods, right? I got some picks for who I think might play Tiger Woods. Nothing too set in stone for sure, but I'm curious if you've got any before I throw some names at you, just so you can field them. Tell me what you think.
No one in mind personally. It's you're gonna have to learn to play golf or at least look good swinging a club. Tiger Woods is a little tall and kind of he's a very lean guy, so I can't think. No one comes to mind, but it's you're gonna have to have a little bit of a physical transformation and know the game.
Hot up and comers for me. I like Damson Idris. He's from FX's Snowfall. He is in F1 opposite Brad Pitt, which we have a trailer to talk about. Just a few more minutes in the episode. Stick around for Trailer Park. It's coming. We're going to talk about the F1 trailer. I think he's a good talent. I want to see. This sounds weird. Hear me out. Jafar Jackson, the guy playing Michael Jackson in the Michael Jackson biopic. I don't know anything about him, but I'm like, hey, man. He's coming hot off the biopic set. Might need another feature. Kind of an unknown. Maybe throw him in a golf cap. He might be the guy. And then if I far away pick somebody really off, Lakeith Stanfield. I think Lakeith's too old, but man, you could put him in anything, dude. He's awesome. He should get more work.
Yeah.
Put Lakeith Stanfield more movies. Those are my hot picks for the Tiger Woods biopic. We got to talk about more news. We got to keep moving through this. Starship Troopers is getting another movie from District 9 filmmaker Neill Blomkamp. Very exciting for sci-fi fans out there, although this will not, as I understand it, be a direct sequel to the Paul Verhoeven 1997 film. More goes back to the book from 1959. What do you know about this, Andy?
So yeah, Starship Troopers. I mean, kind of like Single White Female. Starship Trooper is also a cult classic of the '90s. Came out in 1997. It's about kind of a hyper militaristic society who allegedly is attacked by bugs on another planet. It's all kind of about military propaganda. Famously stars Casper Van Dien as Johnny Rico, Denise Richards, Dina Meyer. Kind of standards of the '90s. So it's a great film, and Verhoeven he makes it a satire of all of this stuff of fascism. And so Neill Blomkamp is going back to the original text, maybe interpreted a little bit differently. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he does so much great sci-fi. District 9, of course, is like his magnum opus. So I'm really excited to see what he brings.
Yeah, it's so weird for Blomkamp fans, man, because District 9 had so much promise, and then Chappie comes out in 2015, which is like okay. He did that movie with Matt Damon that didn't really work. It's like he hasn't really been able to get off the ground here. He's worked in collaboration with Peter Jackson. He was supposed to do a Halo movie for a long time. Like sci-fi heads have been looking forward to a Neill Blomkamp project. So new Starship Troopers plus Neill Blomkamp, great. However, going back to the 59 novel as source material, I think is going to be a departure. Not bad. Obviously, Dune worked, right? Denis Villeneuve managed to pull that off. And I'm sure Sony is hoping they can get a bit of a similar zeal out of Starship Troopers. But for what it's worth, I wonder if it'll have the same lean on like fascism as the film does, because everybody disliked the movie when it came out. Since then, it's been reappraised and people have come back around on it and now see it as like a larger exercise. But at the time, people just thought it was a total miss. Like, this is not at all what this is supposed to be. And our characters are like Saved by the Bell, but also murdering bugs. Like, it's quite the picture. I don't know.
I want to learn more.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if Blomkamp will have the same gas.
Yeah, we should review the Verhoeven sometime on here, because it's a real unique thing where half the movie looks like an ad for a military, because there's all these screens where it says, "Do you want to know more?" or "I want to learn more," and it's like you're interactively watching a military ad, and then there's in kind of very graphic war scenes, but with these giant bugs, but it's like as graphic as like, a World War II movie or something, and so. There's a lot of like really funny parts, but then also some very graphic and horrific parts. So it hits the satire a lot, but a lot of people kind of miss the message.
I love the opening scene when they're all sitting in class and like Michael Ironside's the teacher, who's an amputee, by the way, like every adult in Starship Troopers, who everybody is injured and has lost an arm. He's explaining to Johnny Rico and friends that violence is always the answer. Like the dropping the nuke on Hiroshima was right. The right thing to, like just a mess, dude. Like, anyway, we got to move on from Starship Troopers. Big show this week. Conan O'Brien's hosting the Oscars again. I can't believe they called this early, dude. Usually finding an Oscars host is a whole nightmare. Not anymore. Apparently the Academy loved him. They're having him back. I don't believe it. What do you know about this, Andy?
I mean, Conan's going to be back. Yeah, they didn't even wait till the end of the month to find someone else. The Oscars are notoriously difficult to host. It's hard to find someone because you got to joke around, but you can't joke around too hard. So a lot of times people give really weak kind of milquetoast jokes, and no one wants to offend anyone there because these are big stars. We can't roast them too hard, and so no one wants this gig ever. Everyone turns it down. And so I think when they had a good run, the numbers were positive, like the ratings and all that. And so they want him back. Other notable things that the Oscars are happening on March 15th, which is 2 weeks later than they did this year. That means we get an extra 2 weeks of Oscar campaigning. So I was like, oh gosh, that even more of that.
Yeah, they moved him back for the 2026 wildfires. Like, I'm looking forward to Conan being like the guy again. He had this great line. He said, "The only reason I'm hosting the Oscars next year is that I want to hear Adrian Brody finish his speech." I think he manages to walk this clever line between like, I'm up on stage and have a job to do, and also like, elbowing and winking at the audience. Like, we can all agree this is silly, right? And like, Conan has been on stage doing work for so long that he manages to land on this perfect. Also wrote for The Simpsons. It almost reminds me of Krusty the Clown. Like, I think he's great. I'm glad they got him. They should lock him down for a contract. Get him for 3 years. Why not? Get him in for 2027 too. You know what I mean? Like, keep him coming. One more story this week from the box office. Apparently it was not a great weekend. Not a great weekend at the box office, which I'm just reading about after. I can't say it's on Looney Tunes, but somebody underperformed. What's going on, Andy?
This is probably the weakest the box office has been in like maybe over a year. Novocaine, the new Jack Quaid action rom-com, came in number one with 8.7 million. That's so low for the top film to have. Mickey 17 came in second place. Black Bag, the new Steven Soderbergh spy thriller with Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, came in third. And then Captain America 4 still existing and chugging along at fourth. So it's real dire. I mean, $8-10 million for your like top 1 through 3 films is so dire.
Yeah, it was weird this weekend walking into the theater to go see Opus, because I walked in there and almost nobody was in there. And then I walked out and there just happened to be another Looney Tunes screening down the hall for like 10 minutes later. And I was like, well, it's 90 minutes. If I go to the bathroom and buy a ticket, like I'll be walking in right when it starts. I don't have anything to do. I'll just check it out. Now it turns out Opus probably going to stay in theaters long at all. Looney Tunes is getting pulled like tomorrow nationwide and just isn't going to be in theaters anymore. Like Warner Brothers gave it 1 week. It'll be on VOD soon. Man, people have already been, I feel like people have been talking about Sean Baker at the Oscars, like begging movies to stay in theaters longer, you know, and like no better example to counter that than like apparently this weekend when just everything's getting slaughtered. Nothing's rising above.
Yeah, it's a challenge because there is a selection of new good movies, but they're not huge standouts. It's not like a tent pole thing, and you can't have an event film every week, but you got to get people excited about the mid-budget film, the low-budget film. Like the Terrifiers of the Terrifier 3s of our world, which I hate to have to use that example, but that movie made $100 million off a $2 million budget, and so you got to get people excited about the $10 to $20 million movie. I mean, that's what something like Longlegs did, and of course, that was a big summer release with a great marketing campaign and hype. But you got to hype people up for these B movies, for these little movies that come out in the slower times, or it's just going to be dismal at the
That's
box
right.
office.
Yeah, come on, get your popcorn. Come, do something different. Beat the heat, right, at your local movie theater or something. Something's got to give. Anyway, we got to move on to Opus. Action-packed show this week. Andy's agreed to take the summary on this one, so let me get out of his way. Andy, please take it away.
Opus.